What is the crack, lads? Welcome back to another player pack review. Today we are taking a look at the France 2022 Premium Pack, which I think I'm probably gonna end up buying. If I do end up getting coins and do buy a pack, I think I'm gonna go for this one because they have probably three of the most overpowered players in any of these packs, unless you are going for Neymar and Messi. I've already done the Argentina pack review, the Brazil pack review. You get a 99 rated Messi and you get a 97 rated Neymar, either of these packs. Look, lads, you don't need to spend coins. A lot of people that are watching these videos will be saying, oh, I can't compete unless I spend coins. Literally, you can buy the standard version of Neymar, and comparing him against this version of Neymar or this version of Messi versus his standard version of Messi, you're not going to be winning or losing games because you don't have these versions of the cards. You know what I mean? Like, you can buy the standard versions and stay free to play. You get over 1 million GP in just one event this month or this week. So you can just do that, and you can nearly afford to buy the two standard versions of these. Obviously, these are shiny cards or special edition cards, and everyone likes shiny things, but you don't need to get these players. Their stats aren't like worlds away from their standard version. And it's the same with this French pack, right? This Benzema card is not like a godly card. Like, I think it's a very decent card, but there are very, very good strikers in the game that can compete with Benzema, right? But we're going to get into it because a lot of people have been asking me about it. But as I keep repeating, if you haven't checked out these player reviews and you are really interested, I mean, Messi and Neymar are just ridiculously good in this game, and these versions of the cards are absolutely insane. But the standard versions, with a bit of time and a bit of grind and a bit of patience, you can get the cards really, really good as well. But we are going to start with this French pack because, as I said, a lot of you guys have been asking. It's 1,500 coins, which is pricey, but you are getting what you buy here. You're getting 11 really top-class players that can make, a big difference to your squad, especially if you're starting out. I mean, I'm not going to, everyone is entitled to do what they want, whether they want to spin for coins or they want to stay free to play. I mean, that's the same as every aspect of life. You can do what you want to do. I always make the comparison, of buying a cheap McDonald's lunch for a tenner or buying a lovely steak dinner for 30 quid. They're both still satisfying your hunger. They're both still feeding you. They're both still keeping you alive. So it's up to you guys with whatever you want to do. But I'm just reviewing the players as we always do over here. And there is a couple of hidden gems in here that I want to focus on over on eFootball DB in just a minute. But we will probably buy this pack, and I want to test out a couple of the players on it in depth and play through it. But yeah, we're going to start with Guendouzi. I don't think this guy is that good until I've come up against him, or I didn't think he was that good until I've come up against him. His speed and acceleration, I think things have changed slightly. There's a slight change to the way that the players now handle and what's working and what's not. Like in V 2.0, I would say, the meta or what worked was always speed, acceleration, even on your centre backs. And then there was the kind of switch to the defensive awareness for your centre backs being completely overpowered. I think they've switched that back down a little bit now, and I will have a video on what I think from having played the game for a couple of hours and from talking to a lot of different people at different skill levels. I think I know now how to train your players a little bit better for this update, V2.2 update that's out at the moment. It is changing a little bit, but this guy's got some incredible player skills, lads. Absolutely insane player skills, man marking, interception. If you're going to be buying the pack for this guy, I'd say don't bother, because there's a dime a dozen of guys like this that are box to box center mids. He's a nice acquisition. If you do end up getting this pack, you definitely could train him up to have fairly decent defensive stats, aggression, and passing and dribbling, which I think is very important now. We'll get into that in a future video. We've also got Koundé. I've done a lot of reviews of Koundé. He's been in a couple of the player of the weeks. He's been in the Barcelona pack. We've had him, once or twice. I actually bought his standard version and I have the other version of him. He's got he's probably one of the best centre backs in the game. So we don't need to focus too much on him. He's got unwavering form. He's got loads of on-ball dribble or attributes, as well as soul control. He's got good dribbling. I would probably play him right back, personally speaking. He's not the fastest, but if you don't have Kimmich or you don't have Cancelo, I think he could be an endgame right back for you, unless you have a legend like Cafu or somebody, or Maldini. But yeah, insane stats. He goes up into the high 80s, low 90s in all his defensive stats. He's got 18 levels to go, and his speed is fairly decent, as well as having interception and blocker. They're two vitally important attributes now to have as player skills if you are looking at defensive players, which we'll get into in another video, lads. I've so many video ideas. Next up, we've got Kimpembe. Obviously, Kimpembe isn't on the World Cup squad as far as I know. He's been replaced by Disasi. But yeah, again, his acceleration lets him down a little bit, but also what lets him down is his dribbling and tight possession as a centre-back. Unless you're playing 5 at the back, which, again, I keep saying it, we'll get into in a different video. If you're playing 2 centre-backs, you need to have 2 ball-playing centre-backs now. You know, it's not just good enough to have a speed guy or like a kind of dominant aerial guy. You need to kind of have all-rounders to play out the ball from the back, depending on your play style, obviously. But yeah, he's got everything. He doesn't have interception, which is a bit of a pity on this card, but he does have blocker. He also doesn't have unwavering form, which I think is probably fair because his consistency can be a little bit lacking sometimes. But yeah, everything else on this card is fairly decent, but there are a lot of other centre-backs there. Now, next up, we've got Griezmann, right? So we're just going to focus on the players that we're going to be taking to eFootball DB, right? Lloris, lads, look, Oliver Kahn is 5,000 football points. You can buy him for free. You should have eFootball points saved up by now. If you don't, you can link your account and get a boost to your coins there, and you can just play division matches and get Oliver Kahn next week. If not, I would say buy the standard version Donnarumma if you're not getting this pack, because he's on D rating and he's an average goalkeeper at best, Lloris. He doesn't have enough levels to make him meta or top tier. That's just my personal opinion. And we've also got Giroud, who again is a dime a dozen for centre forwards like this. Plus, we've got Benzema here, who, you know, absolutely obliterates him stat by stat. Now, Giroud obviously does have super sub, which is very vital if you are looking for somebody in off the bench. And it's Giroud. I mean, he's a beautiful man, so it's always nice to have him on the bench to come on and pop a goal in for you. But yeah, he is very slow. You're going to be looking at his heading ability here and his finishing. His finishing will go mid-80s, and then his heading will be mid-90s if you train him up right. So it isn't a bad option, but yeah, Benzema is probably a better option to have, even though he's a bit smaller than him. Or even Jan Koller if you're looking for a target man. Again, he's 5,000 eFootball points in the shop. But yeah, onto the main kind of guys now that we're going to be focusing on over on eFootball DB, right? Griezmann is one guy that I've never really paid too much heed to, but this card, lads, unwavering form, super sub. He's got every passing skill that you could possibly want, but he's also got a load of dribbling skills, and he's got rise and shot, and he's got acrobatic finishing, plus he's got finesse shots down to a T with that curl. Now, I remember back in PES 2016, I think Griezmann was probably my favourite player as an attacking midfielder. He was insane. Absolutely insane. Not the fastest, and he's still not the fastest, but he's got across the board very decent stats. Literally got amazing stats across the board. And we're going to go over here and look on eFootballDB.com and have a look at his actual stats right here, right? So this is the maxed out version of him that we've done him at 94 as an SS. That will go up to 96 overall when you get that boost. If you have a 100 team playstyle or 98 team playstyle or more, we've also have a video on that done already. Ball control 90, 81 acceleration, 86 tight possession, 86 finishing, and 86 curl. You will be using Griezmann basically as a Messi, like a cheap version of Messi. If you're not going getting the Argentina pack and you want to get most bang for your buck, if you play Griezmann like Messi, either on the right flank or in an attacking midfield role, linking everything together, once you get that left foot finesse shot away, you will be able to pop goals in left, right, and centre from Griezmann, lads. Absolutely insane card. Like, absolutely insane card. Next up, we've got Tchouaméni, who is a monster as well. Tchouaméni. Yeah, Tchouaméni. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how you pronounce his name, lads. I'm working on my pronunciations because you're all slagging me about my pronunciations and my Irish accent. But yeah, Tchouaméni. Feedback on the pronunciation will be much appreciated. But yeah, this card, lads, I'm really eager to test out this version of the card. I know there are similar versions of him around. Like you've got this card that was here. You've also got this card, the Tchouaméni one, or the player of the week one. You've got a load of different cards that were here from the previous version of eFootball. So if you've got one of them, you've also his standard card with 38 levels. But yeah, I just think that this card, with the player skills that he has, everything going for him, I just think that he's just an absolute monster. Like, you can see the difference in the player skills here. The boys are fixing that at eFootball DB. But yeah, this card looks insane. And obviously, if you are going to be trying to get him, you know, with the unwavering form, he's got good stamina, speed, everything is across the board. I have pumped a lot of stats into his defensive side of the game to get that aggression up. I definitely think he's worth it. Next up, we've got Hernandez. Now, this isn't the best version of his card that has been released, but I still think it's a very, very, very good card to have. He can play left back, as you see here. or left mid. Like, he's a very, very solid player. And I think the biggest thing about him, lads, is his speed and his actual ability to get up and down the pitch. He does have, of course, a lot of other player skills, such as pinpoint crossing, such as long ranger, fighting spirit, incisive run, obviously as a play style, with speeding bullets. So there's a lot of going for this card, and I definitely think he will be in your team if you don't have it. I mean, if you're a newcomer to the game, this is the most bang for your buck that you can get for a pack, genuinely. Next up, we've got Nkunku, who again is a fantastic player. This is the guy that most excites me about this pack. I think if you're looking for one reason to buy this pack, it shouldn't be Benzema, it should be this guy. He's probably one of the best players in the game, lads. Look at the stats that he has. They're absolutely incredible. We've boosted up pretty much everything across the board to get 92 tight possession, 89 ball control, 88 dribbling, 80 curl, 78 finishing. Absolutely insane. 92 acceleration and 88 balance. And then the rest of his stats like kick and power, speed, offensive awareness, low pass, really high. He's got loads of player skills. He can play so many different positions. You can play him as an outright winger and have that speed and trickery, or you can play him as a link-up man and link everything together. I think he's one of the best pound-for-pound players in the game. I hope he does get to play in the World Cup if he isn't too injured. I know that he took a knock in training the other day, which I thought was a crazy challenge. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing this guy on the eFootball pitch. He's an absolute monster. His standard version of the card, lads, if you are staying free to play, genuinely, his standard version of the card can compete with Messi. Like, he's unbelievable. Just a little bit faster and not more as technical as Messi, and you won't have the shooting. But Messi's a very unique player to combine with. So, but he is an unbelievable attacking midfielder, and he's almost on anybody player, any of the guys that are good at the game, they will have him in their squad. Trust me on that. And then second last, we have Varane, who is... again, a very decent player, good tackling, good defensive awareness and engagement. His aggression lets him down slightly, not too fussed on that. But the big thing that lets Varane down, I think, is his dribble and his tight possession. That's going to be a slight concern unless you've got a really good ball playing centre back. As I said at the earlier there, I will have a video on what I think you should be upgrading now when you train up players. Speed is good, acceleration is good, defense stats is good. Yeah, he's your traditional kind of centre back. If you don't have Van Dijk, if you don't have Koundé, if you don't have Kimpembe, if you don't have Marquinhos, if you don't have De Ligt, Upamecano, any of those guys can slot in there. And last but not least, we do have Benz. So Benzema is a special iconic moment version of his card. He goes up to a 96 overall when you train him up. Deep line forward, his form is B. He has 42 progression points at 22 levels. Yeah, I mean, Benzema is a very unique player, lads, because obviously he's not the fastest. He doesn't have the best aerial ability. He's got 90 finishing, but there's a lot of players that have these kind of similar stats. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to think of an alternative, you could go with a lot of different people. You could go with like standard version Ronaldo, who's similar speed, similar finishing, similar everything. If you wanted a bit more pace, you could go with Lautaro Martinez, who's like kind of like the same kind of go about him, who's just obviously a lot faster, but still has all the finishing skills and all that. So yeah, I would not be buying this pack for Benz. I definitely wouldn't be buying this pack for Benz. I do think that like he is one of the better players in this pack, but yeah, I think that he's not worth buying this pack compared to, like, you know, when you put him up to Messi versus Neymar. Like, I definitely think they're still the better options to have as the special version of the card. And if you are staying free to play, Benzema isn't actually that expensive. You know what I mean? He's not massively expensive. So yeah, I definitely would look at it in a way that 740,000 GP, you could buy Cristiano Ronaldo and you could buy one or two other players to link in with him instead of spending that much money on Benz. Like, I know his stats are good, but finishing is not that important if you can't get the chances away. Like, I have Morientes and his finishing is really good, but he's very slow. So you have to change your play style. So that is it for the French pack, lads. Let me know if you guys are going to unlock this or not. I mean, as I said, you can stay free to play, buy standard versions with the GP. They're giving a lot of GP away. So, you know, you don't even need to do it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think about the review as well. We will try get a bit of gameplay with it as well quite soon if I do end up getting this pack myself. And yeah, that is it from me. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out the giveaway on Twitter. And that's it from me, lads. Peace.